All right, now to the ever important separation of duties. This is something we'll see throughout, just like the example of the person who is able to falsely hire someone and then issue them a paycheck and collect it. We want to separate out. So every instance in an organization, you either have custody of something, you have authorization of something, and you have record keeping of something. Now, one person should never be able to do even two of these. If I am a cashier and I have physical access to cash, I should not be able to edit or delete records because that's authorization. If I can do that, then I can steal cash and just edit the records to say that cash was never there. Similarly, the one who enters payment information and relieves accounts receivable, if they can say, oh yeah, this was paid down, and they have physical access to the cash, they could say, oh, it was paid down, just collect the cash and just write off that accounts receivable. Now, we could give a million examples here, and we'll see this very much in all the revenue cycles, expenditure cycle, et cetera, things like that. Very important. Just you should always consider: does this individual have authorization and record keeping, authorization and custody, or custody and record keeping? Always consider that whenever you're reading through a question or an example. Personnel should never have more than one of these activities within their role. The risk to reward trade-off is difficult at a smaller company. So let's say you've only got like 5 employees, you're a super small company. Is that practical that everyone is separated out? Probably not. So, but if you're a small enough company like that, there's not really any rules saying that you have to have it broken out like this, but it's just for your own benefit. It's it is. If you've only got 5 employees, yeah, maybe the person who has physical access to the cash is also performing reconciliations because you just don't have the capacity, right? But it's 5 people, y'all trust each other. Maybe you're just constantly reviewing each other's work. Who am I to say? Who are any of us to say how a small company should run its business? Because it may just be quite more expensive. You might have to pay, let's say, $60,000 a year to hire another employee to do one of these things. And is that worth it to you? Maybe not. So that is an issue, and that's something to consider with smaller companies. Now, collusion and or management override are the most common ways to circumvent these separation of duties. Additional controls need to be put in place to contain these concerns. Because, yeah, sure, you could have employee number 1 here and employee number 2 here, and maybe even employee number 3 here. But if employee 1 and employee 3 or employee 1 and employee 2 are friends, and they agree and they say, hey, yeah, let's you want to do a little fraud scheme? You want to scheme around and steal some money? That's this whole process falls apart. Now, of course, you're going to have other checks in place. There's going to be we'll talk about all that in the internal controls lesson. But yeah, that is something to watch out for. And then management override. If management just says to the cashier, hey, give me that cash. I mean, obviously there you have a problem. The cashier should have protections. And if they get fired because they don't listen to management when management's trying to commit fraud, you have whistleblower protections. Again, this is all internal controls. We'll talk about that. We talked about that with SOX 2002. So collusion and management override are a problem. I mean, also management can just, because they're at the top, they can kind of command people around, and people are just trying to do their jobs, and they just say, okay, sure, I'll do that. And management can see it from the top. They have more authority over around, so they'll be able to commit fraud more easily. And again, we need additional controls to rein this in. But if you're out there and you're in a management role, be ethical. Just there's no reason to be unethical. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.